All right, we are live. Happy Tuesday, everybody, and it is cold. I know everyone in the Midwest is probably freezing, so I'm in here in Columbus, Ohio, and it has been cold. It's going to get colder next week, but happy Tuesday. So on this week, we're going to be talking a little bit about the wildfires in LA. I know it's not Ohio. We talk a lot about Ohio, but we got to touch on that. How much has it cost in damages in the wildfires of Los Angeles and California? Really, real sad situation. And then let's talk about Q4. Fannie Mae report came out. What kind of concluded for the national average in home appreciation in Q4. We'll see how that pans out to Ohio. And we'll talk about much more right after this countdown.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Well, happy Tuesday, everybody. I know everyone's probably cold and bitter. Weather sucks, and I'm so ready to go camping, fishing, etc. Booked a bunch of camping trips last night, so I'm really excited. So with that being said, though, let's talk about the wildfires in LA last. I think that's just a sad story. So much has got burned down. I mean, it's equivalent to Helene, double the destruction of Maui. I mean, it is absolutely crazy, just mismanaged. But let's talk about fourth quarter national numbers for real estate. So let's jump into it. So Fannie Mae came out with their Q4 report, just breaking down what's happening nationally. Home prices ended up about a 5.4% increase year over year. Okay. So that's about what they talked about. I think we talked about at the beginning of the year. Lawrence Yun with Realtor.com talked about a 6%. So it's spot on, about, just right under that 6% mark. That's Q4 of last year to Q4 this year. So yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of what to be expected. Ohio is about the same. Central Ohio, especially. Central Ohio falls almost into this number. Almost exactly into this number. Not much change. They're really talking about home prices staying pretty consistent this year as well in 2025. But guys, listen, an average growth appreciation for real estate in a given year is about 3%. So the fact that home prices nationally, now I know there's some areas better than others. I mean, Dayton, Ohio was hanging around that 8-9% at the end of the year, was in double digit, and it started cooling off as the year progressed, but that's still pretty good. I mean, 5% is pretty good. I mean, we're still a little over the 50-year average. Interest rates, it's still going to be about 7%. They're not really projecting much is going to happen with that this year. Rates got down to about 6.1 for a short stint, like literally within 2 or 3 days, and it jumped back up to 7. So if you're trying to buy a house and catch it, lightning in a bottle is probably pretty impossible. So things are pretty consistent. That's not a bad thing, guys. Consistency in the real estate market is not a bad thing. It's kind of what you want, what you can expect, and I love it. I mean, if you talk to some of our Ashmont agents, it's been great. I mean, I have a really good friends and clients moving from North Carolina back to Ohio, and some of the houses they've been eyeballing them. They've been on market for 2 or 3 months, and it's great because they can come up and we can take a look around and not be forced to buy something, sight unseen. So things are looking consistent. Better for buyers now than sellers, getting kind of even out a little bit, but I like it. We'll see what the report shows. The Central Ohio and Dayton report shows next about a week and a half, they'll come out for the final 2024 numbers. And, we're probably looking at homes on average sitting on market for a month. And that's about 3 times maybe 3.5 times longer than it was during those COVID times. And so it's great. Inventory is going up as well. So really, really love it. So next, let's talk about some sad news. Everyone's been watching um, what's been going on in, I'm going to pull it up here in a second, in Los Angeles. I mean, what a horrible situation. Horrible situation. I mean, there's the thing about it, a lot of people are being affected by it, but it's not just your average people. These are there's a lot of celebrities that's been hit hard. I mean, Mel Gibson was on Rogan. When was that? But was that last Thursday? I think. And just talking a little bit about that. So, a lot of celebrities are not really happy with with things, and that's what some of those need change. So let's talk about it. This is on Housing Wire, and Chris Clow yesterday, January 13th. So how do you put a price on the wildfire damage in Los Angeles? Well, right now, no, CoreLogic put a 30 billion figure on damages at this point. Now, a lot of people say, well, who's CoreLogic? Well, what's that all about? Well, CoreLogic is a real estate database. So what they did was they kind of took the area of where the fire occurred, and then they valued the properties that if they were burnt to the ground, what would be the replacement value of those. So right now they say 30 billion, but I've seen, and it says in the report, or I'm sorry, in the article, that they're projecting up to 250 billion. Now 250 billion is more than what Hurricane Helene affected people, that was affected earlier this year in 2025. So right now there's around 8,500 properties. I think it's over 10,000 now. I mean, every day that number changes. So I think there's 10,000 properties that have been affected. And, they're talking about on AccuWeather, per the article says, and I've heard this number today actually on the PDB podcast, that is, they're estimating around 250 to 275 billion dollars in damages. And that is more than Hurricane Helene. And, put it in perspective, like, Maui, that was 13 to 16 billion. Okay. Again, they're thinking $250 billion in damage here, folks, compared to 13 billion in Maui. So that's how destructive this was. Worst in California history. But a lot of people are talking about, like, insurance costs and stuff like that. Well, absolutely. I mean, think about it. The insurance industry being hit by one of the two largest wildfire and hurricane catastrophes, and within what is that, 4 months? Yeah. I mean, there's going to be a lot of adjustments, and everybody's insurance, as well as some of these states. You might not even be able to be insured. So very interesting. So those are the top stories that's going on today. We'll jump back in. We'll keep tabs on what's going on with the real estate, because a lot of people wonder, because there's a lot of people that did not have insurance because a lot of the insurance industry dropped them somewhat recently in those California fires. So very interesting. So guys, stay warm. It's cold. It's gonna be like -5 next week in Ohio. So stay warm, guys. We will catch up with you later in the week and see what's out there in the real estate news. Again, this is Adam Ashba, broker of Ashmont Realty and instructor at Converse College. And we'll see you guys all later in the week. Bye, everybody.